with CLINCH, chatting all things MMA.
Hi and welcome to the Clinch on enca.com, where we talk about MMA in South Africa and the rest of the planet. Joining me today is probably the most successful coach in mixed martial arts on the continent of Africa, and that's FiveFit Militia's head coach and co-founder, Richard Kwan. Rich, thanks for joining me, man.
Anytime.
I've got a lot of things to go through because, we can talk about MMA all day with you, but it's such a rare opportunity because you've been just a legend in the sport and also a very enigmatic guy. So let's just contextualize it as co-founder of FiveFit Militia. What makes you, as the head coach of the most successful gym on the continent, what makes you so successful? What is the secret?
I don't think there's anything, there's no secret. There's no magic pill to anything. I've been doing this since I was a kid. It's everything that I've wanted to do. I believe in education. I believe in evolution. And for me, that's the secret. Having the passion to educate myself and having the passion to evolve with times and not stay stagnant in the sport of mixed martial arts and life. And I think that's a key that a lot of people don't understand, is that you've got to keep evolving with times because there's always new things coming out.
Yeah.
You got to keep understanding what martial arts is about, and it's all about being a martial artist. And you can't be stagnant as a martial artist.
So let's go back then, because it was something that you're learning the whole time. You moved to Thailand in 1997. So did you know that it was going to be your path, this career in combat sports, before you moved to Thailand? What was you about when you were living in Joburg before 97?
I think since I was a kid, I think like anyone that was in martial arts, Bruce Lee, your Jean-Claude Van Damme's, all of those action figures in terms of the popular media were you looked up to. So since I was a kid, I always wanted to do martial arts. In my view, I did start a little bit late. I only started when I was around 9, 10.
Okay.
To me, that is a bit late, but that was just the way it was. When I moved to Asia, martial arts is a national sport. It's a way of life. That's what people do there. Just like South Africans play rugby and cricket, martial arts is part of the Asian culture. But it's always been within me. Even when I wasn't doing it, I always knew I wanted to do something in martial arts or violence. Military, police. That was my thing since I was a kid. But I knew as a kid that I wanted to be in something like that. Yeah.
So when you were 9, what discipline did you train in, and where were you training?
Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Muay Thai was my thing. I didn't really start with anything else in terms of traditional martial arts, what we call non-alive martial arts. I started in alive martial arts, which is martial arts like Muay Thai, boxing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, stuff that is not really traditional based.
Sure.
Muay Thai was my thing. I watched it once live with my mother, and I just told my mom I want to do this. I started training twice a day, so missed a lot of school. Instead of going to school, I was in the gym. Parents didn't know about that, but I mean that was how it was when I was a kid. And it's way better. I grew up in a martial arts environment in a gym instead of being a little rebel as a kid and doing things that normal kids normally do. I was in the gym, clinching, sparring, hitting pads, hitting bags, running, skipping for hours every day, and I believe that was the right thing to do.
So with those skills that you were learning, you went to Thailand in 97. What was it like? Did you go by yourself? Did you go with the blessings of your family? What was it like?
My whole family went over. My father and my family, we immigrated over there. At that time, the country had a change. And my dad's a very highly skilled, intelligent individual, and he got headhunted. And we moved over there.
Okay.
And that was basically my start of martial arts.
Wow, I was under the impression that you moved to train there as a fighter, but it was actually for your father's relocation for his career.
Back then, to move to another country to train was taboo.
Yeah.
There was only a handful of those individuals, and those individuals now have become legends in martial arts sports, be it boxing, Muay Thai, especially Muay Thai. In 1997, Thailand, most people didn't even know where Thailand was, other than, you know, the movie that Leonardo DiCaprio came out with.
The beach,
Yeah, the beach, and that's what made Thailand popular. But when I went over to train Muay Thai, even when we went to camps, there was no foreigners.
Yeah.
You know, it was
There was
taboo.
no Farang boxing.
No
going on.
phalangs, nothing like that. Yeah, I mean, there was none of it. So
Here you are in Thailand, and then I think you got 50 Muay Thai fights. You fighted at Rajadamnern and Lumpini. I mean, you went on a tear, didn't you? I mean, what were those days like training there? I mean, was it a whole new world for you? Was it tough, or
Yeah, I mean,
was it incredible?
it was incredible. It was a culture shock coming from South Africa there. But I am Asian at the end of the day, so that is my culture. And I adapted just like any individual should or could adapt to the environment. I was young, so it wasn't a big change for me, because as a youngster, you don't know what's right, wrong, and what life is about. So it wasn't a massive change in terms of that. I've always wanted to fight in stadiums like that. As a kid, when you get there, you know that is a big stage. And I was never freaking best guy in the gym. I was never a guy that wanted to be a world champion. I just liked to train. I fought when I had to fight. I liked to fight. Competition was in my blood, but it wasn't, how would I say, I wasn't an individual that thought I wanted the gold. I just wanted the experience. I wanted to do my part.
Yeah.
And regardless if I wasn't fighting, and it's happening now, I still train every single day of my life.
Yeah.
So for me, it was more about that. Reaching that level and fighting in those stadiums was my Olympic goal. You know, that was my thing. That's what I wanted to do, and I did it and achieved it. But that was all. I didn't see myself being a big name in Muay Thai, never mind MMA or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I never saw myself being a massive name in martial arts in terms of a competitor. No.
So does that translate now in terms of how you lead the FFM team by saying to your guys, it's about the experience, it's not about getting fixated on the belt?
So for me, how I like to, or some of the structures I like is, would you be doing this if you weren't competing? Would you be training every day because of the love that you like to train? You work every day, cool, would you be training like this every day? And there's a lot of top athletes out there that say the exact same thing. Regardless of the competition they are in, they will still be doing their thing. They will still be on the mats every single day.
Yeah.
So for me, that's more important, because the fame, the wealth, all of that can drop in 2 seconds. You can lose all of that. But the experience you get from martial arts, everything from that, it carries on for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And I think it also keeps you grounded, keeps you on the right path.
So to move from Thailand to Malaysia, and then you went to LA again, was that again following the family, or did you strike out on your own?
Yeah, so my parents went there as well. I went there, and America was kind of a place where I was kind of reborn in martial arts, because all I knew was Muay Thai. I didn't think there was anything else. You know, to me that was the ultimate. Just like and I typically say this with guys that come from Muay Thai backgrounds, is you think Muay Thai is the ultimate. There is nothing better, nothing can compete with it. That is it. You know, elbows, knees, clinch, and kicking people. You can't get better than that. And you get videos of people coming out with traditional martial arts, non-alive martial arts like Kung Fu and Taekwondo and Karate, and absolutely get smashed in terms of the violent industry. But yeah, when I went to America, I think my martial arts was reborn. I started understanding different martial arts. I started understanding what mixed martial arts was. Being introduced to other industries and stuff like that. So that move to me was probably the most important move of in my lifetime right now, before coming obviously to South Africa. But that's what I call my rebirth period.
Because it's funny, you went to LA in 2003, and that was actually, that year was the first time Randy Couture fought Chuck Liddell, and it seemed to be a golden period of MMA when Zuffa really started putting their foot on the pedal in regards to getting the sport into pay-per-views and stuff like that. So it must have been a very heady time in California for you to be there, and yet here you are training in gyms with guys like Babalu and all these other guys. What was he like to work with?
Yeah, I mean, when I was in the US, mixed martial arts was illegal in California.
Oh, really?
It was only illegal in Las Vegas, Nevada State.
And some Indian reservations.
Indian reservation where King of the Cage was produced, and Mexico we used to fight in. Because California's on the border of Mexico. Guys used to cross the border into TJ, and we used to fight in TJ, cross back the border into the US. You know? But training guys like Babalu, I look back at it now and I didn't realize, because UFC was big, but it wasn't as big as it is now. Where I came from the Muay Thai industry. I didn't really know who these individuals were. So I had a lot of big names come in, and I saw a lot of big names wherever I went to. For instance, Cub Swanson, he was one of my main students. Wow. I trained him for his first 7 professional fights in his career. And we look at it now, we fast forward, and he's like top 6 in the UFC. He's an amazing fighter. And for him, for me to look at that was it's quite a good achievement towards me. But my time in the US with those individuals was great. I mean, like I said, it rebirthed me. I looked at it a different view, but I never had a bad experience with any of the fighters. I learned a lot in terms of what they were going through.
So was that where you first really discovered a true love for BJJ, or when did that happen?
I found a true love for coaching when I was in the US.
Okay.
I never went to the US thinking I was going to become a coach. I thought, let me just compete a few times and see where it goes. But I was kind of forced into coaching, and my love grew from coaching from there, and I actually loved coaching more than I did competing.
Yeah.
When I saw BJJ, I didn't really understand it. And the more I was surrounded with individuals that were involved in wrestling BJJ, the more I started to understand it. And the guys that I was with on the mats and around are now massive names now. But back then, they were just a normal individual to me.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was the rebirth. I started educating myself on proper what I believe is martial arts, which is human movement at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, violence is violence. There's nothing different. So
during that time in the States, then, with that in mind, you were attaining all those incredible combat skills. You trained with the LAPD, you trained with the US Marines, you trained the Thai Navy SEALs. What did you train them in, and what was that experience like?
There's groups of guys from these departments. At the end of the day, these individuals, their primary task that they use is their intelligence. Their secondary task is weaponry, and their tertiary task is hand-to-hand. So these individuals that are working these departments, they need to improve their skill sets in all 3 aspects all the time. And some of them chose me to help them with their hand-to-hand. And it was a good experience, and learned a lot from them, and they learned a lot from me. And
that's awesome.
That was what it was at the end of the day.
Is that where the attack dog passion came from?
No.
You're still doing that, right?
No, I do that every week.
Where did that come from?
I'm scared of dogs. So I have an agreement within myself that every year I got to conquer one fear. So 3 years ago, I told myself, I don't like dogs. I love dogs, but I'm scared of dogs. So I said, what's the best thing that I can do to get over this fear? And within my industry, the violence industry, dog attacking, training dogs to do protection work and sniff work, it's always appealed to me because it's in my industry.
Yeah, sure.
So I said, well, let me try this out. Let me become what they call a bite man, where I'm the individual that the dog actually attacks. So I found the best guy in the industry, Dave Harris. He's a legend in the industry, and it's a sport called IPO, International Protection Organization. And I rocked up at him. I swallowed my pride, and I became an apprentice under him.
Wow.
And then that's it. That's the way it is. And now I'm getting trained by him, and maybe one day I'll be going overseas to the world champs to be a professional bike man. So yeah.
Sure. Wow. Incredible. So let's move it back. When you came back to Johannesburg, was it 2006? How did the formation of FiveFit Militia come in? More specifically, do you remember the time you first met Norman Vessels?
Yeah. When I got back, I was very depressed because I got I had to leave the US. And I had so much going on there, and I was becoming so successful there, and I was enjoying it so much on my life journey and my martial arts journey, and it all came crumbling down. And that's why I say wealth and power, you can lose it in a second.
Was it just visa issues? Was that
Visa
it?
issues, man. I mean, people don't understand that, being a South African, having the green mamba passports, it's not the best thing, and I just couldn't stay there. There was no way around it, and I had to leave. So my world came crumbling down. I came back to South Africa. I didn't actually know what to do. I didn't train for 6 months.
Wow.
I didn't do anything. And my cousin that was living here currently told me that I must go to a taekwondo gym because there's a few people there that would like to know Muay Thai. So I rocked up there, and I met a Brazilian guy, and he was into capoeira, and he was running the scene in South Africa. And he said, let's start training. So I started training, and a week later, first guy that rocked up at my door was Cairo.
Oh, really?
A guy named Richard Brown.
Yes.
And Graham. And it just blew up from there. And a few months later, Norman walked through the door.
Did he just come back from London then?
He just came back from Europe,
Yeah.
He came back from England. He had been training in Europe as well as in his industry as a chef. And he was basically just one of my students, man. He was training every day. He understood my mentality, I understood his mentality. He loved martial arts. He came up to me and said, what can I do around the gym to help? I want to learn a little bit more. And it just kicked off from there. We moved into a smaller facility then. And everyone knows I'm not an admin guy. So Norman...
Even I know that, yeah.
Norman, coming from his industry, running massive hotels and restaurants, when he kind of was helping me out, he didn't understand my admin process. I had a book. You would write your name in the book, and you would put your money inside it. And that was it. Because I came from a culture in Asia, where the religion is Buddhism, we believe in karma. So if you didn't pay, well, I didn't know, I didn't check up, because you're supposed to do the right thing. But humans don't work like that.
No.
So when Norman came through, he basically took over the whole admin process. And we've just been working back and forth together since then. He now has become a great coach. He mentors a lot of the guys in the fight team. He's a team leader. And I do my thing, he does his thing. He knows his role, I know my role. And since then, we've never had a problem. We've never looked back. And every year we get stronger and stronger.
So you've had some people in the gym since the inception who've been in and out a bit in terms of their commitment, but you've had some guys who've really stayed the course, like Gareth and Demart. And what is the definition of brotherhood at FiveFit Militia? Because it's something that I see you guys going on a fair bit, and I see it's a successful philosophy.
Yeah, it's just community, man. There's no secret to it. I'm not doing anything that's new. How does a military run? They build a community, they build trust within the soldiers, they build a belief system that the soldiers must believe in or have to accept within themselves. That's exactly what I've done with my community and my so-called team of men. And I'm not doing anything new. I mean, guys see me as a leader. I'm not a boss. I don't sit on the mat and point fingers. I'm actual invested leader. I take responsibility for success. I take responsibility for failure. And I entrust my team to believe within themselves and believe within the system. And everything else takes course. I don't really have to do anything else.
I see you've, I spoke to you earlier about the Jack Donovan text. I know that a lot of guys in the gym read it, and you told me that it's required reading at FiveFit Militia, the author of The Way of Men and Becoming a Barbarian. I mean, how do you, and obviously we have a big issue with violence in this country, particularly towards women. How do you then adapt masculinity to modern society in terms of what you do at FiveFit?
Masculinity, being a man's got nothing to do with what people and popular media, and that's the biggest problem, see as being violent and being a barbarian in terms of being savage. And that's what people see it as. We have four understandings, and one of them is mastery and mastering skills. Men should be able to master skills. What skills? It's actually, at the end of the day, is knowledge, is education. Never stop mastering stuff. Have honor and believe in honor and fight for your honor. Have loyalty, believe in loyalty and fight for your loyalty. And the last one, be strong. Have strength. As a man, you should be able to look and be strong. Those four traits is not being a man, it's more being a better man at the end of the day. And it's evolution. A lot of people understand it, a lot of people don't understand it, but it's not for me to change people that are not in my tribe and community's views on that. Yeah. If you join my tribe, my community, I will explain it to you, I'll provide you with the education. You then decide if it's true or wrong.
Cool. So with that philosophy, when I and you're talking about building a community, or your word was a tribe. When I first went to FiveFit Militia a few years ago, I almost got knocked over by a bunch of kids running around, and there was a ladies' class going on, and I could see the fact that, for what strikes me about FiveFit Militia is when you go there, it's like MMA is just one aspect, but there are events and classes that you have in that community that are kind of peripheral, or they're kind of orbiting around MMA. It's not just a sport aspect with you. It really is a lifestyle, isn't it?
Yeah. For me, you must provide to the whole community. Men are a certain part of the community. You then have your females and you got your youngsters. So you got to provide it to them as well. But I believe martial arts empowers youngsters, empowers females, and empowers males. As a male, you should be able to defend yourself. I don't care who you are. You should have the ability to defend yourself. For females, of course, same exact way. But the problem with the youngsters these days is they've got nothing. You've got too much technology, and I believe martial arts grounds them, gives them the confidence, and it's proven. And we just try to provide a facility where a whole family can come in, and the men can learn something physically and mentally. The women can learn something physically and mentally, and the youngsters can come in and learn something physically and mentally. And there's been hundreds of cases where youngsters come in and they talk to their mothers in a manner that doesn't reach our values and morals, and either someone in the community, a fighter, a personal trainer, or a coach, stops that kid and makes them apologize to their mother how they're speaking to them, because that's what it's about. It's got nothing to do with mixed martial arts and what people see on TV, on EFC and UFC. That's just a byproduct of what we do. Our community is our main aspect.
So do you find yourself, apart from being a leader in this tribe, becoming a life coach as well? Is it something, a role that you're happy with or comfortable with? I mean, you are a leader amongst men there, aren't you?
Yeah, I hope to be that, and I hope people see me as that, and I have helped a lot of individuals in that. I don't like the word life coach. I just like the word leader. I will help any individual that is willing to be helped, and I have done it many occasions. Will I carry on doing it? Of course, but I don't need to be validated with it. I don't need someone to come and pat me on the back and said, well done, because at the end of the day, that's my job. You shouldn't be validated for doing your job.
What are the biggest challenges then being whatever I ascribe to you, like as a head of FiveFit Militia? What are the biggest difficulties for you in that role?
Personalities. Dealing with hundreds of different personalities and understanding that you will give to an individual 100%, and that individual might along the way turn their back on you and never be seen again. But that is part of it. You help 10, you lose 3. You know, and it is hard because you invest in a lot of individuals, and some come right and some come wrong. And to the point now, I've kind of accepted it. But it's just dealing and understanding personalities. And in my industry, dealing with a lot of people and dealing with communities, it's a skill that you have to learn. And it's a good skill to learn, and it's taken a long time, and it's still taking time to understand it and master it. But I enjoy it, yeah.
So you're not seeking validation, but surely then that kind of thing does make you feel happy in your heart. You feel that's the course your life should be.
That's the course of my life, yeah. What I do in my life, I put my morals, values first. I don't really care about... Everyone knows the media stuff like this I don't like. If you ever see EFC, I'm never in the camera.
Which is why I wanted you here today.
I'm always
Thank you.
behind the camera. I'll never get on the cage. I don't like people validating what I've done because it is my job. I don't need validation. You know, when people that I have helped say thank you, that's all I need. You know, I don't need anything more. I know what I'm doing. I'm comfortable with what I'm doing. I can die tomorrow and be happy. That's what a lot of people can't say in their lives.
So when I say to you that you are the best MMA coach on the continent, do you think it's a pitfall to be proud of feeling that way?
In a way I do, because being validated and put on a pedestal sometimes as a human decreases yourself in terms of always evolving. So if I have every single person walking in and praising what I've done and telling me I'm the greatest, eventually my brain's going to tell me I am the greatest and I don't need to do anything more, which is a bunch of rubbish because you always need to do more. You always got to stay on your toes and you always got to evolve with the times. So when people do that, it's nice, but I kind of block it out a bit because I need to stay grounded. I need to understand that what I've done is what I've done, but there's way more that I need to do. And if I have that mindset, I will eventually achieve what I need to achieve. And when I've achieved those goals, there's more stuff to do. But I don't want to get stuck. And I believe that getting praised a lot and being put on a pedestal, as a human, you automatically do that.
Right. So let me validate you a little bit more by saying congratulations on the black belts that you, Gareth and Norman, brought back from Florianopolis, from Gracie Barra. Congratulations. It was a great achievement. What was the grading experience like?
Man, it was amazing. It was the first time in Brazil. Going again to another culture. We love to train. We love to travel and experience these experiences in different countries. We were in smack bang Brazil, Florianopolis. Gracie Barra is run by Marcelo Carlos Gracie Jr. That is basically where he's based.
Wow.
Professor Sadala, Professor Rodolfo. Gracie Barra Florianopolis is world-renowned, you know, and to be there was a great honor. See how those guys are enriched into martial arts. Never mind Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, just how their lifestyle is exactly what we're talking about. They will do that till the day they die, and they have. And to get our black belts there I couldn't have asked anything more, and that's what I wanted. I didn't want to get my black belt in South Africa or from an individual I didn't really understand or respect. I wanted to get it properly. I wanted to do it the right way and in the right place as well. Sure. So going to the root of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and going to Gracie Barra Florianopolis was a perfect scene for me. Yeah.
That's awesome. What is the future of the sport in this country, and what's the future of FFM? Because it's something I'm passionate about. I know you are. And I talk to a lot of people on the show about it, and I get a lot of mixed responses, so I'd like to know your take.
I'm a bit worried about the future of the sport in this country. People need to understand that grassroots is what feeds our professional scene. And our grassroots in terms of our amateur scene is nearly null and void now. Are we seeing new talent rise above, and are we seeing an influx of amateurs going pro? No, we're not. We're actually seeing a decrease. I don't care what anyone says. Look at the statistics and look at what's going on. We're seeing our first generation of mixed martial arts come in and they're slowly fading out, either going overseas or retiring. We're seeing our second generation of guys, our youngster guys in their 20s, which are doing very well. And but there's no third generation. Yeah. Why is this? Because we don't have a growth of amateur events every month, every 2 weeks to feed our professional organizations. The other thing is, how are individuals looking at mixed martial arts to make that a profession or wanting to get into that industry? In South Africa, I blame the government for it, because in Europe and America, you can be a waiter, a bartender, you can work in a store as a store manager or 2-3 times a week. You can still have a roof over your head, you can have food on your table, and you can have transport, which means that you can still train 2-3 times a week. Yeah. To do that in South Africa is impossible. Most of our professional athletes have a 9-to-5 job. Yeah. That's why it's taken so long for our skill set to get to where it is today, or to try and match the US and European level, because no one can put in the hours. And that's why I've been seeing my professional team. I'm proud to have a 20-strong professional team, and that is their job, but I've provided an environment that they can do that. But in terms of that, it's hard. I feel sorry for a lot of athletes out there, and you can see a lot of the society in South Africa. It's stopping. Yeah. You're not seeing guys going, "Hey, I want to do this," because there's no foundation. There is no system to get into to now become a professional mixed martial artist. The government doesn't help. The amateur scene is very quiet, and now we're getting into EFC, best organization in Africa, providing for African pro athletes. But like I said 5 years ago, the international is going to slowly start coming in, and South Africans are going to start fighting for their jobs. Fast forward to now, that's exactly what's is happening. Is it wrong? No, it's amazing. We need internationals here because that is going to up our game, and it has upped our game. Is EFC doing anything wrong? No, that is the best thing for South African MMA. But our foundation is crumbling. And if your foundation crumbles, everything else is going to crumble.
And obviously the answer is something that's far too endemic to be able to fix.
Yeah, it's very complex. Like,
you can't fix the government, and you can't fix
the government,
the funding bodies.
The funding bodies, amateur scenes also. We have 1 or 2 amateur scene events in Joburg, 1 or 2 in Durban, 1 or 2 in Cape Town. They're doing as best as they can, but we should be competing every 2 weeks as an amateur. That's what's happening overseas. Same as with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competitions. They should be every 2 weeks. Is it getting better, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? I believe the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu industry is actually growing better than the mixed martial arts industry.
I agree with you completely.
In this country. Yeah. Why? Because you can train once or twice a day as a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu athlete and improve greatly. Plus, competitions are being put on now. But with mixed martial arts, it's way more complex. To work a 9-to-5 job and then train twice a day, you really got to ask yourself, is that going to work? It's not.
No.
And whoever says it is, you're lying to yourself. Yeah. Is your aspiration to just fight in the EFC? Great. That system will work. Is your aspiration to be the best you can be and fight internationally, go into UFC, Bellator, whatever it is? If that is it, stop. You're not going to get there by doing that. You're either fully in it or fully not. It's as simple as that.
No quick fixes, no answers.
There's no quick fix. I mean,
That's such a shame.
you put
I
in
agree with you.
you put in for what you get, and because we as a country started mixed martial arts so long ago, we actually have to work harder.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys go, oh, but that individual only trains twice a day. Yeah, but he's been doing X amount of work for the last how many years in a country that is provided for the sport for how many years? In South Africa, it's only until EFC rocked up did we actually see a growth of mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
If they didn't rock up, where would mixed martial arts be in South Africa?
Yeah, this is 2009.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree completely, and it's probably the best answer I've got yet. And from the media point of view, I blame the media. I don't think there's enough. And you look at something where EFC, and I told Kyra this, that you have the Supersport deal, for example, when Supersport said, we'll get involved in the grassroots levels, we'll do other formats, we'll do other programming, cover other leagues, and absolutely nothing happened. And does fall on the media, and I don't think, and what upsets me as most is like knowing some of your guys at your gym, what it takes to be a fighter at that level. If you're doing that 9-to-5 job, and you can't, you're a fighter who can't afford to train, like you're saying, like a waiter in the States you can't afford even your supplements, let alone your gym fees, let alone your camp, let alone the travel, let alone, it's just not possible. And if you get injured, it's over. So you can't survive. And people drop out the sport way more than any other sporting codes. And as a media in South Africa, we just don't support the sport, and it's not good enough.
I mean, if the media got on board properly, educated our society in what mixed martial arts was, that it is the fastest growing sport, promoted our local heroes, and everything would be just that much easier. But it seems like government, media are only there for the good times, and they're not there for the hard times.
For sure.
When there's a guy like Gareth McClellan that's fighting in the UFC, media and sponsors are there all up. Oh, this is amazing. But other than that, where were they when Gareth was climbing the ladder?
Yeah. No. Nowhere. So let's talk about some of the other fighters quickly. So when I get some more positives from you, and I'm going to be very, very quick ones because I want to know your thoughts and opinions of some of where your guys are going and how they're doing. Chad Hanekom, where's his career going?
He's my second generation. Every individual in my second generation will make it. That is my word.
Okay. Does that include Mark Hume? Okay. Norman, are we going to see him drop to middleweight?
That is in the plans right now. So Norman is looking to go down to middleweight. Will he compete at light heavy? Not anymore. There is no one there for him to
Yannick Bahadi's called him out light heavy, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Should be a great fight.
Great fight. And Norman's a very proud person in terms of he has a goal, he wants to do it. He thinks he can get down to middleweight, so let him do that. Other than that, I think Norm's also going to compete in the world with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Wow. That would be absolutely stunning. Boyd Allen, where's his career going? Second at lightweight.
Boyd Allen should be in the UFC in my view, or he should be overseas. It's just that 2 divisions, no one else to fight.
Yeah.
Takes fights on short notice, beats internationals. Everyone knows him as the most humble guy, evolving every day. Everyone knows what that answer is.
Yeah, agree. Temba Grimba.
Temba, second generation as well. He just needs to keep on fighting, keep on winning. He's a young fighter. He's only 7 fights in, and his time will come.
Cool. I'm sure you expect Demart to unify the bantamweight belts in November against Urshad Sayed. What then for him?
Demart is the same road as Boyd Allen. What more must he do? 2 divisions, undefeated, 12-0.
Yeah.
Beats Ishard. What more must he do to unify anything? Him and Boyd, in my view, need to be on the international circuit. They've done South Africa proud in South Africa. They've done EFC proud in EFC, and EFC is our local promotion, and it's, for me, my number 1 promotion. But guys like that right now, they need to go overseas.
EFC 50 was coming up. It's a big event for the gym with both JP Base and Shana fighting for titles. Have you learned to control your nerves, especially when you're second generation, as you call them, guys? Because when I first saw Shana fight, I've never seen you so nervous, cage side.
So it's a joke in the gym, I hate cornering. I
Really?
absolutely hate it. I haven't mastered the understanding of, in terms of giving commands, that's not a problem. In terms of controlling my emotions, that's the problem.
Well, you look quite controlled to me.
I'm content with myself. But because I emotionally invest in my fighters 100%, and because now you're on the outside and you can't actually do anything, I always in my head as a coach go, oh, maybe we should have done a little bit more of this, more of that, or we could have changed this, we could have changed that. And I guess that's just the way I am. I've accepted it. I've got Norm, on the other hand, who is, exciting in the corner. I give orders and he gives orders, he repeats it. But yeah, in the corner is not a place that I like to be, but I'm there because I've asked the guys not to be there, and they say they won't fight. So
fair enough. Are you ever going to compete again? Because you fought Luis Mendes a few years ago.
I think my days of competing are over.
That's done.
I feel more validation in my coaching.
Sure.
I also believe that as a competitor, I'm not that great. Regardless of what people want to think, I don't think I was ever a great competitor.
Well, Alex Ferguson was a crap player.
I just believe my path is coaching. Will I compete in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? That's another story.
Wow.
I think I will, because it's a industry that I haven't yet. So I might take on that in terms of trying to go to Worlds in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as a black belt as well. But in terms of mixed martial arts, nah, man, I'm done.
You're done with that?
Yeah, I'm done with that.
My last question, Rich, and it's one I have to ask you. What is the next fear that you're going to conquer?
My next fear is heights. So I'm in the process now of getting my skydiving instructorship.
Oh. You don't know when to quit, do you?
So I don't want to do a tandem jump. I actually want to jump out of plane by myself and pull the cord by myself with no one around.
Dude, that's a metaphor for your entire career. I think that's fantastic. Richard Kwan, thank you for coming on the show. I really do appreciate it. You're a great guy. And I know that for some time, you don't do the media thing, which is why I really wanted you on the show to find more about you. And you have not disappointed. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, man. Take care.
The Clinch, chatting all things MMA.